Okay, we're continuing with our turn 4 playthrough of Kaiser's Fleet 1914. I placed the new vessels on. The British have 4 new dreadnoughts. The French have 4. And the CP players got a mess of new U-boats too. So they're going to be formidable. All right, so we're going to proceed to the repair phase. Now, we had a big battle there last turn, so I don't think they're going to be able to reach all their repair capacity. Now, the British can repair 10 damage, and what have they got? Let's get ships back in commission first. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we'll take a hit off the Iron Duke. So that's the limit of the British repair capacity, but they will be able to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dreadnoughts will be back in commission. So let me put those on the task force board. Okay, the British Navy will be very formidable indeed this turn. Now the the CP can move 8 hits, and what you want to do is try to get as many ships as possible back in commission. So we'll take 1 here, 2, 3, 4, I guess 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll put them on their appropriate cards and remove these damage markers. So the CP player is able to put in commission 6 new vessels. Now the Hungarians here can, Austro-Hungarians, can repair their damage there, so they'll put the Prince Eugen back in commission. The Italians have no trouble removing the damage there. So that's the order of battle for 1916. There'll be quite a lot of ships. There was an error in my setup. The Sevastopol battleship is actually based out of St. Petersburg, not the Black Sea. So we'll continue. Okay, we're going to do the EP movement phase. And now with the British fleet at a high premium, a lot of ships there now, I might get very aggressive with them. Someone asked online, can you move ships from the Mediterranean to Great Britain and vice versa? Yes, you can by way of strategic movement. It's just that the way I'm playing the game right now, the British don't need any more power in the Mediterranean. But you are allowed to do strategic movement between Great Britain and the Mediterranean. But there isn't a lot of forces here of the CP in the Eastern Mediterranean, and they're expecting the Italians and the French to do their jobs. So let's do the EP movement, and we'll catch the video after that. Okay, that's the situation after the EP is moved. The 1st and 2nd Squadron went into the North Sea. Indefatigable is going to try to do a bonus move in the appropriate phase. The Valiant went into the English Channel. The French failed to move into the South Atlantic, but they did move 2 into the Western Mediterranean. And the Italians moved 2 vessels into the Adriatic, and we're going to try a bonus move with the Invincible into the Aegean Sea. And the Russians moved 1 ship into the Black Sea. So, variety of movement there. We'll do the CP counter move, and we'll do the bonus move. Okay, the CP player has got a mess of U-boats this turn. They've got, 3, 4, 5, 6 U-boats deployed, so they're hoping to rake in points with the merchant shipping. But after turn 5, or turn 5 beyond, it's going to be much tougher to get points. They put the 2nd Squadron into the Baltic, but they beefed it up with the Crown Prince Wilhelm. Now the 3 squadrons here in the Heligoland Bight are going to attempt to go to the North Sea to do a dust up with the 2 British squadrons there. So we'll do the bonus moves for the EP and then bonus moves for the CP. See how things end up. Okay, the CP player had some disappointments that turn. Only the 1st Squadron moved into the North Sea. that could get ugly. And that's about it. So we'll proceed to the combat phase. So we've got potential combats here in the North Sea, 2 squadrons against 1, maybe. And that'll be the only place where combat's going to occur. So we'll do all the submarine combat first, U-boats, and we'll see what the U-boats rake in merchant shipping. Okay, the U-boats did very well. They raked in a whole mess of points, like 6 or 7. But that's irrelevant when it comes to the turn record track in one sense, in that the track only goes to 10. So it's self-correcting. You reach a certain point and then that's it. So that's what they've got now in points via the merchant shipping. All right, so we've got the submarine, the British submarine, to resolve. I've got the U-boats to resolve here, the Austro-Hungarian, but the victory point marker is already at 10. Like I said, you can't go above 10. So we've got the submarine, which is allowed to attack various targets. It's quite random. So the British submarine needs a 6. They roll, they get a 1. So there's no success with the British submarine. That leaves us with the only one potential combat. That's in the North Sea. Each side will have to roll on the engagement table to see what squadrons engage, if they even sight each other. Okay, you always have to roll even if you have only one squadron, because there's always a possibility that you'll get 0 and there would be no engagement. However, the British were successful, so we're going to have a big battle again. The 1st and 2nd British squadrons versus the single 1st squadron for the Germans. Let's see how that plays out. Okay, we've got a pretty ugly situation here, as the battle line is so long for the British. I can't even show it to you in one frame. You can see how long it stretches. Now you still must obey the deployment rules, which are that the largest squadron, which is the British 2nd one, deploys first. Then you do the next squadron, which is the 1st, and deploy. So the CP squadron is grossly outnumbered, and I don't think we'll want to be sticking around past round 1. Now it seems rather unfair, you say, that why can't these ships fire? Well, in the original war at sea you could. You could have 20 ships against 1 and they'd all fire, which really made no sense. If you read about the battle lines in World War I, you'll understand why. I mean, these ships, look how in a cardboard war game the ships stretch. Try to imagine these ships in a real battle line where they're stretching for 5 or 6 nautical miles. It's just not possible for this ship to fire, let's say, at that ship. So that's why I've made this rule where only one ship at a time. Of course, the British are destined to win this battle no matter what. The sheer numbers will overwhelm the Germans, but I don't think the Germans are going to stick around. Now I've got a special battle turn-away rule whereby the Germans can do a free withdrawal after 1 round. But they're not going to be able to do that in this case, because I made the rule that only when the flagship, the Frederick the Great, is present can they do so. And the Frederick the Great is not present. So these guys are going to have to tough it out for at least 1 round. Now, if the British are really lucky on round 1, they can do a lot of damage. If not, they'll be in possession of the North Sea and drive the Germans away. But here's a good opportunity to replaster the CP fleet if they can do so. And of course, Lady Luck is the factor. So let's do the ship firing down the line. Put our little firing marker, and we'll pick up the video after I fired all the ships. Wow, the Germans gave as good as they got, and even more. They inflicted 4 hits on the British Navy. British Navy only inflicted 2. So with that, the Germans are going to pull a withdrawal. I call it disengagement in the rules. And when you do disengagement, each ship gets 1 more shot at every withdrawing ship. The only difference is that instead of using the fire factors, you're going to use 1 die only. Why? Well, it's pretty complicated, but what it boils down to is pursuing ships would only tend to be using their bow guns, and retreating ships would tend to only be using their rear guns. That's why the firepower is reduced. So let's do the withdrawal. British will get one more chance with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 dice. Let's see what happens. Wow, must have been misty weather up there in the North Sea. I rolled 15 dice and didn't get one single hit. So, in a withdrawal situation, of course, damaged ships always go back to the home port. But because the Germans disengaged, their whole squadron must go back to the home port. So that will leave the British in possession of the North Sea. Their damaged vessels, though, must return home to Great Britain, but that will leave the 2nd and 1st squadrons in possession of the North Sea, denying the German 3 points and gaining 1 point for themselves. All right, with all the combat done, it leaves for us to put down the control markers and see who controls what. So I'll put those down and we'll do a point total. Oh, I almost forgot our little wee dust up here in the Baltic. We've got the Gangut versus the 2nd Squadron and the Crown Prince Wilhelm. Now this is going to be an interesting battle because the 2nd Squadron is all pre-dreadnoughts. So I'll set that up and you'll see what it's like. Okay, this could be a very interesting little battle because we've got the Gangut versus the Crown Prince Wilhelm and a whole bunch of these pre-dreadnoughts that I nickname the one-hit wonders because they have 0 defense. If they're hit, they're knocked out, and they only have a firepower of 1. So maybe numbers will tell, hard to say. The initial salvos, Gangut firing 4 dice and the Crown Prince Wilhelm firing 4 dice, could determine everything. The British, or rather the Germans, have much more staying power, of course, with the Crown Prince Wilhelm having a defense of 5. But let's fire and see what happens. And up for grabs is 3 points for the CP player. So it would be very much in the interest if the Gangut could win it. So the initial salvos are going to be really important. Let's see what they get. Okay, round 1, and each scores a hit on the other. But we still have the Deutschland left to fire. She's going to only roll 1 dice. Maybe she'll hit. She does not. So let's go on to round 2. Wow, round 2. And 1 hit each. Unfortunately for the Gangut, that's not good enough because she's got now a break-off marker and must leave the Baltic. That gives the CP player 3 points and not good. So let's evaluate the points after we take these ships and bring them back to their home ports. Okay, the EP player scored 8 points that turn for controlling sea areas, while the CP player controlled 4 points, the Baltic and the Heligoland Bight. So the marker will go down 4 points. So the CP are now at 6. So the EP's numbers are beginning to tell on the CP player. Whether they can maintain that or not, that remains to be seen. So that ends turn 4. I'll do the end phase there where all the ships go home. And I'll wrap up the video and we'll shoot turn 5 maybe tomorrow or this afternoon. Thank you for watching.